Oh, this is why I don't get the podcast done. She wanted to tell me that she cleaned up her books. Because I said after they were done with whatever playing they're doing right now, they had to clean their room. So she was letting me know she cleaned her room before she was supposed to, I guess. I don't know. So, so this is why I don't get the podcast done. This is why it's so hard to get it done. I try to do it like when they're not here, but like they're always here. And then when my wife is here, it's like she's got to do stuff in one room. I've got to do stuff in the other. And so that's why school's starting in the fall. Oh shit, I got to go to the school. That's another thing. I got to set another reminder because that's tomorrow. Hopefully I have a reminder set. Nope, I do not. So we got to stop at the school because they want you to pay some friggin' deposit. Here's 7. Sorry. The summer, like I said, the summer is kicking my ass. They've got like, okay, hold on. What time is it? I'm so sorry. Oh wait, I already did that. Let me just make sure I did. Sorry, I'm just thinking of this now, so if I don't, I won't remember to do it. All right, sorry, my kid's supposed to be starting preschool. I was just thinking, I'm like, well, they just got back to us like a week and a half ago. Not even a week and a half, like a week ago, and they're like, your child has been accepted. They need to pay like a $50 deposit and reply to this email that you're still interested. So I replied to the email, I think, but I got to stop at the school and drop off $50. And my guess is they don't have regular hours because it's the middle of the summer. So I don't know where I'm supposed to drop it off, but we'll see. So I got to drop off a deposit before we forget about that. But yeah, once I'm in the fall and these kids have a regular school schedule, I'll be free to do, I'll be able to do the podcast, edit it, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Right now, the way I do it is like I've got a small window to sit down and record. I sit down, I try to record it. My kids fucking interrupt me 1,000 times. I have to then edit it. It takes forever to edit because my shit's like fucking all over the place because I don't have enough time to like organize my I don't have enough time to like organize the actual podcast stuff, like make room and all that stuff. So I need to like sit down and overhaul everything. And like I'm hoping at some point I could still hear them fucking yelling. Like I don't know if I'm even gonna get through this podcast. It's like I love my children, and I know it's every child at the age of like 6 and 3. But you're like, yo, dog, I just need like 45 minutes where you guys aren't complete psychos, where you just play in your fucking room. And somehow I hear them across the house screaming about God knows. Not even screaming. They're just like, they're playing, but it's like, they're just so fucking loud. So my point is, once they're in school, it'll be easier to do the podcast. I'll have a set schedule. I won't have these fuckers distracting me every 2 seconds. But yeah, I love doing the podcast. I want to make sure I keep doing it. But in the summer, it's just really difficult because they're both home. I don't even know what the fuck they're doing right now. I feel like Will Ferrell and what is it, Wedding Crashers? I don't know what she's doing up there. So anyway, yeah. So the summer again, it's going to be a little bit. Hopefully, like now, it'll be a little bit better because we're kind of done with all the, all the out of town stuff, all the travel, and so it should be a little bit better as far as like releasing this one on schedule. And then I should have a little bit more time to start working on the new podcast, which I'm still planning on doing. I haven't had time to do this podcast, so I can't take on a second podcast until I get this one squared away. And yeah, so that's just basically what needs to be done. And I appreciate you for sticking around with it. I just wanted to give you an update because I know it's like the podcast usually comes out every week, but I feel like I'm off right now. I know I released one last week. It was like 30 minutes, but I feel like this one's probably going to be 30 minutes too, because that might be all the time that I get. So, all right, let me figure out where to start as far as like what to talk about, because I had a trip to Maine. We do the trip to Maine every year. I got some stuff. I got some t-shirts, like nothing crazy. I have so many t-shirts. I've got like band t-shirts. I've got like, but yeah, so I found some decent stuff. Then I found some like old Legos. I went to a sale. There wasn't a ton of sales. So I think next year when we go, we're going to stay a little bit further north, because there's never a ton of sales where we're at, and I think it's because it's a lot of like rentals. So I think if we go further north, it'll be people who kind of like live there full time. There'll probably be better deals to be found. But yeah, it was pretty good. So the first day we got there, we went to Biddeford, Maine, where that fucking dude just got killed by ice. I'm not laughing at like the fact. I was just laughing that it was like we went there and then like less than a week later they're like, yeah, some dude got fucking shot in like a crazy way. So I went and I met somebody. I actually just randomly I went on Craigslist before we went out to before we drove up there. It was like Monday, and they had posted a Nintendo 3DS for like $50. They were like, it works. I just don't have a cord, blah, 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 blah. But it had just been posted. Like it said 15 minutes ago or something like that. So I sent them a message. I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Biddeford area like on Wednesday. Would it be cool to meet up? And blah, blah, blah. And they said, yeah. So I thought that for sure they would sell it, but they didn't. They waited until I got there. And so the first thing we did was go meet up with somebody to buy something on Marketplace. So I bought the Nintendo 3DS, and I might actually keep that one. It's a cobalt blue Nintendo 3DS, but I don't have a Nintendo 3DS right now currently. I have a Nintendo DSi XL and a Nintendo I thought I had another Nintendo DS system, but I don't think I do now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, so met up, did that, and then we went to this place called like Luke's Lobsters or something like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little high, like what's the word I'm looking for? High strung? I don't know. I was a little wound up, and so I was being a little bit of a dick, to my wife and family. Not like, just being like grumpy, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I had no reason to be grumpy. It was just the first day of vacation, and we went to we ended up going from Biddeford to, I didn't just pick my nose, I was itching my mustache. And we went from Biddeford to, because we couldn't check in until I think like 3 or 4. So we went from there to Portland, Maine, and we went to this place called Luke's Lobsters. They had really good lobsters. They had a lobster bisque, and I love lobster bisque. And it was a good lobster bisque, but like it wasn't great. And then when I took like a chunk of my lobster fell off of my lobster roll. So I took some of that lobster from the lobster roll and I put it into the lobster bisque, and it made their soup 10 times better. So I should have told the girl that, but people probably tell them that shit all the time. You could probably order it as a scoop on top of it, I'm sure. But, I didn't realize until at the end. It's like, oh, this is way better with a little bit of lobster in the lobster bisque. So I usually don't get lobster rolls, but I haven't got a lobster roll in a few years. I've never been like, I like getting them, but I've never been lately. I'm not really a huge lobster roll person, or even lobster. I got lobster a couple times. I got like a lobster dinner, and even after eating it, I was like, it's just not worth like the money, the effort to actually eat to open a lobster and crack it open and all that stuff. And then they had these steamers, and like I liked the little teeny steamers, like just a little teeny guys. I like those. these things had these like long things that look like little long pieces of shit. They look like the things that you, when you light them on 4th of July, they're like the little disc, the little black disc, and then they just grow into like this. They say that it's supposed to be like a snake, but it looks like just little things of cat, like long pieces of cat shit. That's what these little steamers look like. I don't know what type of steamers they were. But that was like primarily the meat was like that part. And then like it was like that and the belly. So like we did waste a few of the clams because they were pretty, they weren't like bad, but it was just like, they were just so nasty that I was like, not bad, but like not nasty, but like just looking like off-putting. They were very off-putting, but I did eat a few of them. And then I honestly got a little bit full because we were ordering just a bunch of food. So we did that. There's this place that has like awesome ice cream, so we got some ice cream a couple times. It was fun. Like my kids are a little bit older, so we were able to like let them stay up a little bit later. We did like dancing at one night. There was like an outdoor patio, so we had dinner there inside because it's nice and cool with the AC. And then like once it cooled off outside, we went outside and found a table, and so me and my wife got a drink. And we got our kids like a little juice or something. So we had like a nightcap drink, listened to some music, and then did some dancing. It was fun. It was a very fun family vacation. Like we try to have fun with our kids. I don't understand people who like don't like doing shit with their kids. I love doing shit with my kids. It's so much fun. Like anytime I go to birthday parties, like I went to a birthday party. We had 3 birthday parties yesterday. I had to take them to 2 out of the 3 by myself. And the first one was like, we went there last year, but it was like on the water. And there's like a little beach and stuff. And so like the kids can swim. But like it was pretty windy and like wavy, and it's the water. Like I know at some point that it just drops off because it kind of gets like deeper. And so people would just have their kids like in there, and there's like a little bit of a step where you have to step down, or not even step down. Like you'd have to like run and then like carefully jump down. Otherwise you could potentially bust your ankle while you're trying to save your kids. And I was the only one in the water. Like one, I was in the water because I'm like hanging out with my kids. Like we're having fun. But 2, I don't trust the fucking ocean, dude. Like, so like there was one little kid who was like a little teeny baby. Like, they started running away. The mom was like, "Hey, get back here." I'm just like, dog, one, I like to have fun. We're like playing in the water, and then like, yeah, then 2, the ocean. The ocean's just fucking terrifying. So, yeah, that was, yeah. So I don't remember where I was going with that. But anyway, so then Maine, hit a few thrift stores, got a couple, like, found a t-shirt. I left, and then there was no service in the thrift store. But it was like, the t-shirt said Rat Dog, and it had, like, Grateful Dead kind of, like, imagery in it. And so I was like, the tag was missing, I was like, whatever. So I left it. Once I got service, I finally looked it up, and it looked like it was like one of the members, like maybe Bob Weir or one of the members of Grateful Dead. It was like one of their side projects. So some of those shirts were going for decent money. So we ended up, going back to the thrift store, like on the way back, we ended up passing it. So I stopped and ran in, and they still had it, thankfully. So I got that. I got a couple other vintage t-shirts. But then there was one sale that was like, it was a neighborhood sale, but it was about 6 minutes from where we were staying. And so I went out to that. And there was like a bunch of houses were already set up, and they were like letting people shop. I went to this one house, and the guy and the lady were like, "Oh, we're not open, and we're not like letting people shop till like the time that it starts or whatever." And I was like, "All right, well, I probably won't be back." So I left. They didn't look like they had a ton of stuff that I was interested in. But I drove around a little bit, and then finally I'm like, all right, I'll just head back to that house, whatever. There's no other houses in this neighborhood. And I think there was another house getting set up when I went by, so they weren't like, they like literally weren't ready. The people who said they weren't opening until 9 were set up. They were just not letting people shop. And so then I got there. It was before 9. It was like 15 minutes before 9. And I pull up and there's people shopping at this sale. At the one they were like, you can't shop until 9. So I'm like, all right, you just turned me away. But I get out and I'm like looking and there's nothing there that I want. And then all of a sudden I look and there's 2 bins of like vintage Lego sets, and like you can see the boxes. And so like I start looking through and they have $50 on each bin. So like I start asking the guy, and he was gonna do, like, he wasn't gonna give me a discount, but I kind of had to like schmooze him a little bit. So he ended up doing, I originally offered 80, then he ended up saying, nah, I can't. I was like, well, what about 90? Like, and I told him I was in from out of town. I wouldn't be able to have a chance to come back. So I was like, 90 would be, I could do 90 cash right now, blah, blah, blah. And he did it. So, and I looked up one of the sets and it was like a $200 to $300 set. So there should be some good money in there. But we had like 2 giant bins of Lego that we had to get back. So that was fun. But we figured it out. We like kind of moved everything around. And then the first day that we got there, when we were first coming into town, before we went to like Biddeford, or maybe it was in Biddeford, I forget. We stopped somewhere because the kids had to go to the bathroom, and like we were done with the meeting of that. I think it was Biddeford. And so we went to Walmart. Or was it Walmart or Target? I think it was Walmart. We just stopped at Walmart because we needed to do something. I forget what it was. Kids had to pee something. But I walked in, I saw people like standing in line at the Pokemon thing. And because at this store they had the Pokemon stuff like in the cigarette aisle. You know how they have like that one special aisle in Walmart sometimes where they sell cigarettes. So it was like in that aisle, and there was already a line. So we got what we needed to do, and so we're walking out. And as we are walking back past the Pokemon cards, there's no line. And I look over, and they've got like a bunch of Pokemon products. So I went and got some Pokemon. I just like accidentally hit a restock in Maine. It was a Wednesday too. It was like a random Wednesday because my place restocks like Thursday, Friday. So it was just random. I wasn't even planning on getting anything. So I got it was just like a tin with some, was it Destined Rivals and Journey Together. I opened those and shockingly didn't hit anything because those ones fucking suck. Not my favorite ones, but they're cool. Some people like them. And then I got it was like the first partner set, the Series 2, so I just kept that one sealed. So I'm trying to be better about keeping some sealed Pokemon stuff, but because I sold all mine for next 6-figure seller like a fucking idiot. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah. What was that? Why was I talking about that? Oh yeah. So then what else did I get on this trip? I got a couple other things. I can't really even remember right now. Some vintage clothes, some Lego. Man, I'm just so overwhelmed with stuff right now. Maine was just like, it was a wild trip. And then this past weekend, so Saturday we had 3 birthday parties. The first one was started at 11 to 1. The next one was 2 to 4. And then the third one started at 1, but it was my buddy that I grew up with. So we basically just went after my wife got off work. And so so in the morning I couldn't really hit a ton of sales. There weren't a ton in the area, so my plan was like to just stay in my hometown and not really go too far because I planned on hitting some yard sales and then just going right to the party if we had to. But there ended up being a sale posted the night before. There was only like 2 in my area and they didn't look great. And then there was one posted, but I forget where they posted it, but nobody saw it. And it had pictures of like stuff just filled shed, another filled shed. They had like a bunch of blow molds. So I got there like an hour before they opened. And the guy like had just pulled in or whatever. And I think it was maybe 45 minutes actually. I think I got there and nobody was there. And then I turned around and there was a place 5 minutes up the way. So I checked that sale out and came back. And by then it was like 8:15, 8:20. And this guy was like pulling, getting stuff opened. And it was like a clean out that they did. And he's like, yeah, I was like, oh, I was like, you guys open? He's like, oh, 9:00. And I go, you guys open right at 9? I kind of like laughed. And he goes, yeah. I was like, all right. I was like, the only reason I'm asking, I was like, I was interested in, your blow molds. You have those big plastic Christmas displays. I was like, I got a truck here. I was planning on buying as many of them as you'll sell me. He goes, oh yeah, you want to take a look at them? So he like opens the shed. He's like, yeah, just make me an offer or whatever. We're just trying to get rid of them. So I offered him $10 each for the big ones and then $5 each on the small ones. But then I found like 3 more after we had already paid, and he added them in. So I ended up paying like $80 for a bunch of them. And then so yeah, that was like the start of that sale. So then other people started showing up, and then he was like, oh, I see what you did. I'm like, hey, you're selling stuff. Your one-day sale, you know what I mean? He's like, So he was cool. We were just going back and forth. So I put that stuff back. I start making a pile for my next round because like I went through that. And the lady's like, because his girlfriend shows up at this point. She was like not there at first. So she shows up and she's like, hey, I'm opening up. Because I was talking with them and stuff. And like when you're cool with people, they fucking want to hook you up. You know what I mean? If you go to somebody's house acting like a fucking asshole, like demanding that they let you in early, they're not going to, be cool with you. But if you show up cool and you ask, you go, hey, are you guys open? Like, would you be cool if I fucking looked around? Like, I'm specifically looking at this or whatever. Usually they'll be cool with you. And so she came over and she was like, oh, you should go check out this shed I just opened up. It's like all home good stuff, but it's all like sealed. So there was like some old sealed TVs, but I had already looked at some of that stuff up. But there was a sealed like DVD VCR combo that I looked up, and it goes for like $300 to $400 open box, even more if it's sealed. But the problem is like, I'm worried that if I sell it sealed, and I've sold things like that sealed before and didn't have an issue, but eBay lately has been just one fucking thing after the other. I just sold those golf shirts again after they have measurements in them in the pictures, and they got returned for doesn't fit. They're like, the sleeves are not long enough. I'm like, it's a short sleeve polo shirt. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, there's no way it just doesn't fit. Like, so that's been really annoying. It seems like every other item I sell on eBay gets returned or gets lost in the mail. I'm not having an issue with stuff selling. When I list stuff, it sells. My problem is like, I'm just dealing with a lot of nonsense, and I'm like, I don't feel like listing this just for some fucking dickhead to wear it and then return it because they got their use out of it. So that's been fun. I'm trying to think of the rest of the so anyway, I want to go back to the sale because I don't know why. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, I've got this DVD player now, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. But I got a bunch of other stuff, and so then I was like finally kind of like finishing up. And there was a lot of like women's clothes, but it was all like in cleaning bags, like the dry cleaning bags. And so they would have like 2 or 3 shirts in one bag. So I was having to like literally tear through these bags. And I found like a vintage t-shirt. So I'm like, there's got to be more somewhere. So I looked, and in the corner there was like a box. And there was like some t-shirts in there. The first one I found was like a vintage Three Stooges. Pulled that one out. Then there was a vintage Batman one. Pulled that one out. Then like a Spamalot one. Pulled that one out. So there was some good vintage t-shirts in there. Put that in my pile, and I was finishing up. And as I was finishing up, this guy like walked up, and he's like, "Oh, you sell vintage clothes?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "So did you pretty much pick through all this stuff?" And I was honest with him. I was like, honestly, no. I was like, I don't have time to pick through like most of this stuff. I was like, but there's like stuff packed in there. It's like I found a couple t-shirts, sweatshirts, but like I gotta go, so I don't have time to look through anymore. So you could probably find some shit. So I don't know if he actually looked and went through. He didn't look like he was trying to do any work. There's only like one other vintage clothing seller in this area that does the work. And it's this dude Lance that I know. He's like the only one that actually puts in work to do to do vintage clothes. The vintage clothing people in this area are so fucking lazy. It's crazy. Like I'm like I barely looked through it, and I could tell he wasn't gonna look through any of it. He was just kind of like looking, and I'm like, all right, man. But I also was like, he asked me if I got anything good, and I was like, I was decent. Like I never like to like make people feel bad. That's my thing. It's like I don't want you to feel bad about what I just found in this pile before you got here. Because the other thing too is like if I'm like, yeah, man, I found this fucking sick single stitch 1994 double-sided Batman animated adventures or whatever the fuck t-shirt. And he's like, oh well, fuck. Now I got to get there earlier next time. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, it was decent. I found a couple decent things, but there's probably more in there. You know what I mean? Go for it. So I'm never like shoving shit in people's face because, you know, that shit will come back to haunt you. So, speaking of coming back to fucking haunt me, so if you guys remember the last episode, I talked about how I had to ban somebody from the Whatnot stream. I'm assuming they probably listen to this show now because this is fucking weird behavior. So I put some stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and like Marketplace shit is like whatever. Like, you know, if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it doesn't really take me too much time. And I have a usual meeting spot that I meet people at right near my house. So this person had been going back and forth with me, like, you know, kind of being like weird, like not really taking a ton of time. I'd be like, oh shit, I forgot to like answer this dude, whatever. And so it got to the point where I'm like, I don't know if this person's gonna buy this or not. I don't really give a shit, like whatever. So they were like, oh, does tomorrow work to meet up? I was like, well, yeah, I was camping at the time. So I was like, I was camping at my family. But when we camp like 10 minutes from the house. And my kids wanted something from the house. We need to get like we need to re-up on some stuff. And bring some stuff back to the house. So I was like, all right, I can meet you at this time because that's when like I'm coming right by there. And so I went to the house, got the stuff, went and met up at the place with them. It was like 10 minutes had gone by and they weren't there yet. So I was like, ah, shit, I got to go back to the house anyway. So I was like, yeah, I'll be right back. You know, whatever. I got to run to the house. I ran to the house, came back. They still weren't there. I was like, hey, you're going to be much longer? No answer. So I started to pull out. And they texted me. They were like, hey, are you still there? And I just go, yes. And they go, and I see the thing, like the long message come in. Let me read it to you because it's fucking insane. I'm going to read it to you. So they said, so this is somebody from Whatnot. Okay, so I blocked them on Whatnot because they were shitting on like other people's, you know, there was a moldy tape. You know, VHS tapes and mold. Normally I wouldn't sell it like that, but it's a collectible cover. And so people in the VHS community, one, they know how to repair tapes with mold. And two, they like to display the cover. And so I made sure I showed the tape, repeatedly showed the tape, and was like, this tape has mold. If you're bidding on this tape, keep that in mind. So this fucking retard... I'm going to use the word retard and faggot a bunch while talking about this person, so I apologize. Cover your ears if that's going to offend you, but that's what this person is. They're a retarded faggot. And so I show the mold, right? And then they have an issue with their fucking payment, and so I said something about it, and like, bro, you don't have to fucking bust me out like that. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right. So that was like red flag number one. Then the second thing, he comes back on, he goes, oh, my thing was glitching. I didn't know that tape had mold. Can you just switch it for something else? I go, no, I'm not going to switch it because that's how I get hit with an item not as described. But you can cancel the order and spend that money on something else, and I'd be glad to cancel that order for you. I said it like 3 times. I'll be glad to cancel that order for you. So somebody else was like, I'll be interested in that tape if you're going to rerun it. And so then the person whose order wanted to be canceled, then starts shitting on that person for wanting to buy the tape. And so that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to fucking ban you. I should have said right off the bat, like, hey, I'm going to ban you for this reason. Like, if you want to shoot me a message after, we can talk about, like, you know, or I could shoot you a message after if we want to talk about, like, maybe reinstating you back to this stream. But for right now, like, you know, but I didn't do that. I was in the moment. Whatever. I fucked up. I should have said something. So then this person fucking messages me on, Instagram, Facebook, basically bitching at me for blocking them, and they have explained that they're huge in the VHS community, and so then I was like, all right, whatever, and then I tried to like unblock them and then like send them a message like, yo, this is why you were blocked. But at that point they blocked me like on everything. They blocked me on social media. They blocked me on whatnot. And so I'm like, all right, whatever. I refunded the money. I canceled the order. That's the end of that. They're blocked. They'll stay blocked. Probably more of a fucking headache than I want to deal with anyway, because again, we're talking about a retarded faggot here. And so then so anyway, fast forward to this camping trip. I'm supposed to go meet this person, and as I pull out, I get this message, and they're like, oh, you still there? They go, so about a week ago, you had a buyer on Whatnot that sat through your show and bought about half dozen items, and he asked if he could swap one thing out because it had mold on it, and you blocked him. Remember that? That was foul. So being as we all stick together, and this is this person, clearly this fucking person, it's clearly this person who's like, because when I kicked them out of the stream, people were like, that guy goes into every stream and is a fucking pain in the ass. They all fucking hated him. You know what I mean? They were like, fuck that guy. Like, he's a piece of shit. We're glad that you fucking banned him. Like, it was one of those situations where he just thinks everybody loves him. And I know nobody's crazy enough to be like, I'm going to over something so petty and so small and something that you got your money back. Like, it's crazy. So he said, and so again, this is him pretending to be somebody else on a completely different platform after blocking me on every other social media. This is him, 100%. This is him. So he goes, remember that? That was foul. So being as we all stick together in this community, I saw fit to be your karma. You can never get back the time you waste of others, and now this time and gas you wasted is payment for that. And again, I didn't waste any gas because it was literally right by my house. Time, it was like maybe 10 to 12 minutes of my actual time that I spent waiting for him. Hopefully you learned a valuable lesson. Communication is crucial. Honestly, yes, I'll give you that. I should have communicated why I blocked you before I blocked you. I just wanted your retarded faggoty ass out of my stream because you were annoying and you were a bitch. So that's why I wanted you out. As a man, you should never block someone. First of all, as a man, talking about blocking somebody while you're pretending to be somebody else, you're a bitch. Like, you're a bitch. You don't have children. You're a childless fucking scumbag. And you're an entitled little pussy. That's not what they said. That's what I'm saying to them. So as a man, you should never block someone without talking to them directly first. Enjoy the remainder of your day. Meanwhile, this is written the exact same way that this fucking idiot has been talking the entire time. So I know it's them, but it's whatever. To be honest with you, if I had actually wronged him, I'd be like, dog, this was a chef's kiss. Like, great way to fuck with somebody. It's harmless. It's a time waster. But you got to actually waste my time. Like, meet me somewhere other than my preferred meetings place where I always meet people. You know what I mean? Like, I hope the time that you spent in gas. It's literally, I could literally walk to the place that I meet people. You know what I mean? I was driving by, so I didn't waste any gas. No gas was wasted. Again, a few minutes of my time was wasted, but like, if you're going to do it, meet me where I have to drive like 30 minutes. Be like, hey, I'll give you an extra $100. Here, I know you're probably listening. So next time you do this to somebody, but next time make sure it's for something that actually is like revengeable. Something that you should take revenge on. Because me can't like blocking you after you talk shit to other people in the stream and you keep trying to pretend that it's about the mold, even though I said you could return it. And I made sure I mentioned it repeatedly that there was mold on it. So you're a fucking idiot because you wanted to still buy it, and then you were trying to switch it, which it's not a thing. You don't just switch your order. So like, I feel like he knew what the fuck he was doing, and for some reason dwelled on it for weeks, long enough to pretend like he could essentially catfish me, and is pretending that that's not him. Like, who's gonna be like, oh, my friend has been wronged. My friend has been wronged. He had his orders successfully canceled after requesting to cancel them, and was in a stream for about 15 minutes. So I guess we're 15 for 15. We're even. You know what I mean? So again, I thought it was, I respect the move. I respect the move. The level of petty. I've talked about the revenge sale. Remember with that one? That was like a few years back. The revenge sale. If you are new to the podcast, I went to a yard sale one time, and there was just a sign that was like, "There's no yard sale here. Somebody did that as a prank or as revenge or something like that. The police have been notified. Do not knock on the door." Like, all this shit just basically like, get the fuck out of here. And that was just, it was somebody had posted a sale, and they posted good shit. They were like Pokemon cards, like video games. So they knew what the fuck they were doing. So I respect a petty move as much as the next, but at least the person has to at least deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. Even if like, I blocked you because, I was like, oh, this person, is being a bitch about this mold. Like, even if that was like as cut and dry as you think it is, or as you're saying it is, then, it still wouldn't warrant like wasting that much of your own time. Like, I feel like that took more of their own time. You know what I mean? Like, you just sat and had a conversation with a stranger for a few weeks. Like, it's very bizarre. And then they don't even unblock to be like, let me explain it. So I feel like I'm sinking deeper and deeper into this couch. I need a place to podcast. Let me just check my phone because I got to finish up here shortly. My children have actually been pretty chill so far. Oh yeah, we went on. There's just a couple but yeah. So anyway, I was laughing because I'm like, yeah, this dude like, I posted it on Facebook and I fucked up again. I should have posted it under my business name, but I posted it under my regular name like a fucking idiot. And I should have posted it under my business name. Like, I'm so bad about that shit. But anyway, I posted it and somebody like said something about like, oh, that dude's a legend. I'm like, yeah, they succeeded in like mildly inconveniencing me. I wouldn't. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a mild inconvenience at the end of the day. So, and again, I'm not hating. I like, you get A for effort. You get an A for effort. You taught me that I should have communicated it a little bit better. But I just hope it was worth it for you. I hope it was worth it. That's all I'll say. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Anyway, so we went, I fucking hate roller coasters. I really do. I hate them. And my daughter is starting to like them. So I went on a small roller coaster. But I didn't realize as we started going on it that like it spins around. So, oh dude, I'm like going backwards and oh dude, it was brutal. And my wife loves roller coasters, or used to love roller coasters, and she won't go on them anymore. So I have to go on all of the roller coasters, and it fucking sucks. But anyway, I was getting on this one, and a lot of people, I don't know if you've ever been to Old Orchard Beach, but a lot of the staff there was like Eastern European, like, you know what I mean? So I'm wondering if it's like owned by like Russians or some shit. But like this dude was getting the buckles and shit ready. He like buckled my daughter, and you could tell he didn't want to buckle me. And I wasn't sure. I'm never sure if you're supposed to buckle it or if they have to buckle it. So I just like sat there. He's like, "Oh, you can do it," and I just had to like buckle my own shit. So I'm like, I hope I did this right, like, because he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to look like he was gay. Like, it was like that type of move. He was like he kind of went to do it, and then he was like, you can do it. I'm like, oh, okay. I see what's happening here. He didn't want to put my safety belt on because he didn't want to get that close to my dick. Oh, yeah, and then I had a Whatnot buyer claiming that they didn't receive items. So that was like on Thursday. So I hit them up. I was like, hey, here's the other tracking number. All of those should be in this order. Like, if you only got one box, all of this is in this box. I remember packing up the orders. So then the next day, this person I am still recording, right? Oh, this wasn't recording the whole fucking time. Are you kidding me? I really hope this is fine on this other end. Oh, Jesus Christ. I think it should be fine because I think I figured it out last time and I haven't actually been using this. But that's really annoying. That's my backup. So if I have an issue with this recording again, it's going to suck. Oh, man. This one is recording, though, so I think that's all we need. Man, that's annoying. This is what happens when my fucking kids interrupt me. All right, I got to wrap this up here. So, yeah, so this buyer, so it's like Thursday, they reached out. They're like, I didn't get this, whatever. So then on Friday at like 1:30 in the morning, while my store was on vacation mode, I was in Maine still, I get an email. So, of course, it gets buried, like, by the time the morning comes. So I didn't see this email at all. And then the next email I got was like Monday that was like, we've refunded this buyer for their entire order because they said that they didn't get a couple of items. So I'm like, what the fuck? So I like go on and I send out a message to support. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like, you guys gave me 48 hours. You didn't even give me 48 business hours. You sent me a message at 1:30 in the morning on a Friday. Like, you're supposed to, you want people to run this like a business, and you're going to give them less than 48 hours to respond to something where you're going to just give away my money and my inventory. So I sent them a long fucking thing, whatever, appealed it, and they actually like reversed it. Good on them. They reversed it pretty quickly. But then I reached out to the buyer, like, you know, just making sure there wasn't a problem with your order, that this was a mistake, whatever. So they never replied. So I gave them like a good 48 hours. I gave them 48 business hours to reply to asking them like if this was a mistake or not. And they never replied. So I fucking blocked them too. I'm like, that's not going to happen again where you're like claiming you didn't get shit even though you did. So that was annoying. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing I saw a video of like a picker leaving like concert tees, and then another one of leaving like gaming manuals. And I swear they do this just so like people are like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Because dude was like, yeah, I left these video game manuals because I didn't think they had any value, or like he didn't think that those ones would sell, or like that they would take forever. But maybe none of them sell on Whatnot. I don't know. Because those things would sell all day. If I had a big thing of manuals, I would do those on Whatnot all day. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up the podcast. I got to get these kids going on to the next activity. They got to go clean their room. And then I've got to get this podcast uploaded at some point. But I wanted to get it done today. I'm recording it Sunday. I usually don't record on Sunday. But this is like, you know. So again, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me. I'm working on getting like the clips up and running. I got a light today. I don't know if you know this, the lighting is a lot better. The last few episodes have just been me like half in the dark. But I brought a light in today because I thought about it when I was doing it. And I should hopefully be able to get this up with more consistency. And then again, as fall light comes in, you know, it'll be much more consistent without all the interruptions. So that being said, thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, leave a review. Let me know what you think of the show. Tell a friend if you like the show, and share, you know, like my stuff and share it on social media. I'm trying to get that shit popping a little bit more. I'm terrible at it. As you can see and hear, and you know, just overall assess. So yeah, I need all the help I can get. Follow me on Perry Flips, or at Perry Flips on Instagram. That's Perry Flips with a Z, and then Flips and Giggles, just no Z on the Flips and Giggles. Flips and Giggles everywhere else: Facebook, Whatnot, eBay. That's where you'll be able to find it. So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys listening, and I'll talk to you hopefully next week.